That is so strange. I'm not hearing. I mean, it's like a new experience. Hey everyone, I am in New Hampshire of all places at a shooting range, and it's raining. It's humid, and I'm going to shoot for the first time a Q-Fix rifle. This one's chambered for the 8.6 Blackout. It's a .338 caliber. This is really radical new stuff, guys. It might be the direction that firearms are going. Seems to be, but this is really really an innovative rifle. The entire bolt group is out right now, so you can bore sight it. You have to move the buttstock that swivels off to the side, and it makes it really convenient to bore sight. I'm looking down at my target and lining it up the usual way. Pretty close, looks like we're going to be a little bit to the right, but I think we're close enough to get on paper. We'll get this thing bore sighted and see how quietly it shoots. We're working with a 12-inch barrel here? 12-inch barrel and a pork chop silencer up front. That should make it pretty darn quiet. I won't even need ear protection, Jay?
Nope, not at all.
Jay says it's quiet enough I don't have to plug my ears. This is going to be refreshing. So, going to slide our bolt in. Rides on rails, not inside of a receiver the way traditional rifles do. It's going to take some getting used to, guys. Keeping an open mind on this, good old Grandpa Ron here, stepping into the 21st century. So this little 8.6 starts as a 6.5 Creedmoor, and obviously they shorten it quite a bit and neck it up to take a .338. Big long bullet on there. I mean, this is new stuff. Subsonic was the original idea, and this is a 300 grain Sierra.
Yep.
So what roughly is it going to be going, about 1,000?
Yeah, just about.
About 1,000 feet per second. Crazy. But it's the new direction. This is going to work on game. According to the guys here at Q, it certainly does. They've taken a lot of game in various places, including Africa. Most of it, I think, probably African game, up to the size of a Cape buffalo. This is no ear protection. No, seems strange.
There's a little bit of first round pop. It's still hearing safe, and then after that, it gets comically quiet.
All right, let's get used to how I'm going to be rigging this thing up. I wasn't sure I was going to get there on the range, but yeah, it's going to work. Oh, great. Yeah, that's good and solid. Do we have a paper target, or should I I'm going to go for that white steel plate out there at about 50. Yeah. Just to see if we're there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I think we're going to be shooting to the right, so I'm going to hold that. There's a pretty much on center, but a little bit left of center is a mark already, so I'm going to aim at that and expect it to hit to the right. Click.
It was pretty quiet, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's really quiet.
So that's the loudest it's going to be.
Wow, that is quiet.
And that's the loudest it'll ever be because of that first round pop.
But I didn't even hit the plate.
We'll dial it in for sure. If you need to make any adjustments on that scope, go for it.
Yeah.
We bounce that around between everything.
Yeah, I will have to, so I might as well start left right now. Just a guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
3 inches. It looked to me like it was going to be right, but that is so strange. I'm not hearing. I mean, it's like a new experience.
Gentle recoil.
You don't even think you're really shooting.
Right.
And this little bolt handle, I just keep thinking I should pull it straight back.
Yeah.
Crazy. I think we need a big sheet of paper to get this thing zeroed.
Yeah, we can do that. Also, I was going to say, if you want to try that big square steel at the 200, if you float your dart right at the top of it, you could make contact on there.
All right. Here goes. I heard a ding.
I think it hit rock next to it.
Did it?
Yeah. I'm going to see if we have a spotting scope. We should have paper. I just need to get a spotting scope organ on.
All right. Let's get serious.
What is this? You were right to the left of it.
Just left. Okay.
Yeah. But if you aim like Burnham, you'll hit it.
All right. I'm going to right in the throat. I was still left. Gonna have to take a break from the brutal recoil soon. Could you tell where I hit him?
Yeah, you're basically his right shoulder.
Just caught the right shoulder.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was centered up.
Centered up. And maybe a half inch yet. That should do it. Wow, that is just mild all over.
Yeah, pleasant. It's pleasant. That's kind of what we said.
So we're depending for a hunting round. This is going to have the momentum. It's the mass of the bullet that's doing the damage, not the velocity.
Right, but it's the mass plus that rotation.
Ah, that 1 in 3 twist, giving it that incredible rotation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I could see where a bullet like this is a traditional match bullet, right?
Correct. Yes.
Nick, this is going to take some getting used to for me. I'm used to traditional ballistics, trajectory drops. You generally have a clear idea roughly what's going on out there from 2,700 feet per second up to 3,300 feet per second, typical 20th century hunting rounds and whatnot. But man, going down to these Subsonics, what, probably 1,000 feet per second?
Probably pretty close to 1,000 feet per second.
So what are we looking at for, let's say, maximum point blank range if I'm a deer hunter and I'm shooting, you're probably shooting a 280 to 300 grain bullet?
We'll shoot, all the way up to 350 plus grain bullets. The velocity is pretty much set right around the 900 to 1,050. And generally for me, I'll tend to zero about 85 for a max point blank at around 110. And these bullets tend to drop off very quickly after that.
So for maximum point blank range, you're talking about a 6-inch target, aim for the center, don't go any higher than 3.
Yeah, generally plus or minus 2.5, 3 inches.
And then at 110 yards, you're probably going to be 3 low already.
Yep.
Wow. That's like, I'm doing that to 300 yards with a 243 or something. But I think a lot of the whitetail hunters in the Midwest and East, in your forest, you get up in your stand, you're looking across a 100-yard field. Most of your shots are coming into 100 yards. It's pretty much like running a 30-30 in the old days.
Very similar, except much, much quieter.
Oh, yeah. And less recoil.
And less recoil, yeah.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I think more effect on target, potentially.
That I've got to see. You got to convince me on that one.
Yep.
Okay, so if this were my setup, I would want to zero this thing right at 85 yards probably, and then just double it out, get out there. And then what happens though if I've got a poke? 200.
Well, we'll have to do when we shoot far in subs, it's not like shooting far in super. What you really need to know specifically is your range. So you've got to have a good rangefinder. You need to be very sure of the range.
You got to be within what, a couple yards?
5 yards until we start getting farther out, and then you probably need to be even better than that.
Because you're just lobbing it in there. Huh?
We'll go through the chart as we go along, but as we get out to 200, 300 yards, we're going to start seeing drops in the, we're going to go from 30 inches to 10 feet, and we'll have to accommodate. We also have spin drift, so we'll have to deal with that a little bit as well. We got a nice day today, though, so should be.
What sort of a spin drift are you getting on your bullet at 100 yards?
Pretty negligible. Now, in here, it'll be basically within the capability of the cartridge. Like, I wouldn't even worry about it.
Okay.
Beyond 250,
That's when
we're going to start, you're going to just start noticing that you're consistently hitting to the right, and these are right-hand twisted guns, and you're like, oh yeah, I've got spin drift, and you've got to start accommodating.
And we're getting more spin drift than most rifles would give you because of the faster twist rate, right?
Correct, yes.
1 in 3 twist. What revolutions are you getting at 1,000 feet per second out of a bullet in a 1-3 twist like this?
These bullets will be about 250,000 RPM, so much more similar to your supersonic high velocity round.
Yeah, 22-250 or something like that. All right, so let's get her zeroed, hit some paper, see what kind of a group we can shoot. Sound good? We got a paper down there already, or what am I seeing?
Yeah, we've got paper up. We've got some cider paper and also just some group shooting paper up. So, and we're set up, at 100 yards.
So the 2 pages I see out there are viable. I can target those.
2 on the right are good for target. On the left, we usually just leave a few on the left for sighters. Your vertical on sight in for these is going to surprise you. So generally what I will do, and normally with like a 6.5 Creedmoor or a 308, I'm a bore sight guy. I'll just bore sight by eyeball, and that'll get me on the paper pretty quick. It takes a little practice, but you get it. With this, it's very difficult to bore sight, partially because the bore is so big.
I noticed that, and I was bore sighting on one of those orange targets down there.
Yeah. So I'll tend to, like, we have a berm here that's about 60, 70 yards. I'll tend to usually have a spotter with me, pick out a rock or a stick, and we put one in the berm where we're going to get a clear impact, and then adjust to that, and then go to the paper, just to save some boar sighting time.
Okay. Well, should we get started? On the left side of the target, we've got some wood. There's a sort of a long piece at an angle, just off the shoulder of that silhouette target, and then there's a little white single piece to the left of it. That's what I'm going to aim at.
That was pretty great.
Just at the left edge of it?
Yeah, just a couple inches low and maybe a couple inches left.
So dial her up.
I would dial, so even that range here, this range between there and the paper we're going to shoot, you're going to hit about 4 inches lower. So it'd actually come up probably about 4 to 5 inches.
I keep thinking I have an autoloader here.
Yeah, it looks like it.
It does.
All right, we're going to settle into paper now, or are you going to shoot
I want to shoot that chunk of wood one more time.
All right.
Kind of moved it a little, didn't I? Yeah, I can see it's getting kind of buried, but it's still there.
It was a good bore sight. All right, I think that'll do it.
I think I smacked it.
No longer there. I am set up. Spotter is up.
All right, I don't have a real good solid hold here with this elevation, but I think we're good.
You want a rear bag or another rear bag?
I've got it pretty solid now. Yeah, I'm holding within about a half MOAs consistently here. Okay, we're gonna go for the right-hand target, top one, upper left dot.
Spotter's up. All right.
Straight down.
Windage is great. It's exactly 3.3 inches low. All right. I think we're probably close enough that we might want to shoot a couple, get a little group before we shift to 0.
Something tells me we've run out of fodder. Do you ever single feed these when you're on the bench? Is it fairly easy, or is it just a lot easier to keep a magazine in it?
I actually like to single feed quite a lot.
Do you?
One thing with a fix that's handy is you can put an empty mag in, it'll kind of act like a floor plate.
Ah.
And you just kind of throw one in the window and close the bolt.
All right.
A little practice, you can get really good at single feeding.
Cool. Oh, that feels pretty good.
All right. That's about an inch from your last.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's low. And we're with a spanking new barrel. I'm not too surprised. We'll have a little bit of break-in going on as well.
Yeah, and you're breaking me in new too. And it's just not the sturdiest.
Yeah, you're not.
Bench rest setup right here.
It looks cool, but it's not the.
Right.
All right.
That one jumped off to the right?
It's up with the first 2 shots, just a little to the right. Like you've got a triangle there about an inch in diameter, a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's stacked right next to your second shot in this group.
Mm-hmm. Dead deer every time though.
So far.
I will want to bring my comb up for if I get a really good solid rest here, I'm under my scope. Just having to lift a little bit, so we'll get that adjusted.
Mm-hmm. All right, that one went low again.
Oh yeah. That surprised me. Felt like a good solid hold. What do you think? Should we keep pouring them in there or pick a new target, or?
Well, I think we can probably take a little break, cool a little,
let it cool.
See if we want to adjust. We can get your cheek piece set.
Hey, Nick, I think a lot of my listeners are going to be wondering, Subsonic, what's the whole deal with that? Is that all a military police kind of a thing? How did that evolve?
I think beginning sort of, I'm sure as you've spoke to Kevin about it, with 300 Blackout as a replacement for MP5s, like the MP5 SD had to shoot subsonic in order to be quiet.
Okay.
So if you wanted to make a rifle caliber round that was going to meet all of those requirements, it was going to have a subsonic option. And then just very quickly you realize subsonic hunting is just pretty great. We have a lot less mess up of the woods. You're making less noise. It's easier on the game. Everything reacts, quieter, slower. But even with 300 Blackout, we know we have fairly limited effective range. So like with 8.6, we're just trying to up that game. Like,
So you've gone up in caliber, gone up in bullet weight, and that makes up for the lower velocity.
Exactly. I mean, it's all you can do, right? If we can't raise the velocity, we have to increase the mass.
Back to the muzzleloader days.
Yeah, pretty much.
Big bullets.
With like a 17 times faster twist. So
yeah,
and we'll go through that I think later. And with how much rotational energy addition we're getting.
Yeah, that's kind of a novel concept. Most people are going, "What? Rotational energy? What are you talking about?" But
in subsonics, it starts making a very practical difference. And I've done a little math to go over. You'll get all of it, but it starts making a real difference as the twists start getting faster and the bullet diameter goes up. We start getting a lot more rotational energy.
Okay, sure. Hey, what about barrel life with that light of a powder load and all? It's not very hot. What sort of a pressure, first of all, would you get? Chamber pressures on these?
With Subsonic 8.6, they're surprisingly higher than you would think because the bullets are so heavy. It actually does take a fair amount of powder to get them going even 1,000. But chamber pressures are going to be quite low, you know, more in your 30 to 40,000 PSI range. I mean, there's a lot of variability depending on your powder choice.
Sure.
Versus our service pressure at 60 or 65 or whatever it's going to be for supers across like a Magnum cartridge. So much lower, much less throat temperature, much less throat erosion, much greater barrel life. Probably, in subsonic, practically your life, a lifetime of a gun is extremely long. It'll still take supersonic to shoot that barrel out. I don't even have a number. It's so long.
10,000?
I haven't found out.
Yeah.
When we shoot endurance on semi-auto guns, which the only practical data I have right now is on our semi-auto on the boombox, where we shoot a 10,000 round endurance test that's 50-50 sub and super.
Okay.
Like our throat will be eroded basically the same amount as the super we've shot, which is 5,000 rounds, which is quite a lot. Those barrels will be shot out.
I'm going to try your single feed here. Drop it in. Oh yes, feeds nicely. No hiccups at all. Nick, any secret advice you want to throw at me before I start launching these?
Hold really still.
Hold really still. Now that's a novel concept.
Wish you had more magnification, I guess.
Yeah, that too. This dot covers up the target. All right, I'm going to get a steady hold here. That's pretty good. High?
Yeah.
About an inch high and an inch right?
It is about a ½ inch right and about an 1.25 inches high.
1.25 inches high.
If you're holding the bottom of the diamond.
I'm covering up the center dot.
Diamond, okay. So you're only about 1 inch high.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to look cool on camera because you just took the middle out of the diamond.
I thought so. Man, it's going to take me a while to get used to this bolt. It's so tiny, I keep coming back. Straight back.
We try to, that one was low about 1.5 inches.
Wasn't supposed to do that. It was supposed to be right on.
It was.
I wanted that sub-MOA group. But I could see, I'm happy with that accuracy for a 100-yard deer rifle. Especially if I were sitting in a tree stand somewhere in the east. What kind of game have you taken with these, Nick?
I have shot most African plains game now with sub up to zebra, and this last trip I did shoot a Cape Buffalo cow with sub. Enough to say I'd probably shoot at about anything. It's not just right with your last one.
Yep, I see that. Yeah, if you're taking out a buffalo cow, you're pretty much ready for anything else Africa has to throw at you except for elephant. What sort of penetration did you get?
In most of the smaller game, deer size to elk size animals, we generally get pass-throughs with 300 plus grain bullets. All right, that's just an inch to the right
of it.
Yeah.
Pass-throughs, huh?
Yes, and it's surprisingly, like I shot a Gems buck, which is a fairly good sized animal, at 240 yards with a 350 grain bullet, and it was a clean double lung pass-through.
Wow.
Another interesting thing about these subs is because we don't have velocity decay through the supersonic range, they don't slow down much.
Ah.
Our energy on target at range is very similar to our muzzle energy. And they don't stop, the twist doesn't slow down hardly at all, so that you basically have a larger and larger percentage of your total energies due to rotation as the range extends.
Okay.
It's a lot of different words, but in short, it delivers a lot of energy far away. In comparison to a lightweight fast bullet where we know where our velocity is decaying very quickly, and we have a lot less energy delivery at range.
Gotcha.
So like, you don't want to shoot deer. You can hit deer with 5.56 at 700 yards, but you don't have much left.
Gotcha.
Right? Whereas 8.6 with this 300 right here at 600 yards has more energy still than 45 ACP at the muzzle. So if you'd shoot it point blank with a 45, you ought to feel pretty comfortable shooting it further than you can shoot this rifle generally.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm pretty much satisfied shooting paper here. Yeah, I don't seem to be getting a lot better, but I'm holding him a little tighter.
We have some first round pop effect. We have oxygen in the silencer on more so in the first round than in subsequent rounds.
Okay.
So all things just that exist in shooting subsonic far away that don't necessarily you have to think about when we're shooting super.
Well, you need to elaborate that pop effect for me now. That's the first time I've heard about that.
You'll notice, and this is pretty common phenomenon, especially in pistol silencers, but in all silencers, generally the first round is louder than the rest. And that's because the can is full of air.
The temperature have anything to do with it? Cold temperature in there?
It's generally the can being full of combustible oxygen, and as it pressurizes, it combusts, and we call that first round pop.
Okay.
Now, whether it has an effect on accuracy, usually it does not in super, but we're in a different land in sub, and I think we're still learning some stuff about we still have a long ways to go before we perfect the subsonic shooting, and it's just a thing you have to pay attention to when we're trying to shoot very accurate subsonics.
So pretty much, and we saw that, yeah, first shots are an inch and a half high.
And I don't know that it'll always do that. My big group of testing says no, but my instinct says maybe. So,
well, I think it'll come down to the individual. Like me with his rifle, if I shoot every day one shot, what is my consistency on that one shot? Cold bore, we would call it in the old days, regular rifles, cold bore shot is always an inch high, or maybe it's whatever it is. But you know with your rifle what to expect on the first one. Then subsequent shots, you'll shoot a tight group, but they're all an inch lower or something.
Right. And the first shot in hunting is the one we care about the most.
Yeah, that's the one you want to know.
So, yeah, that's the one you want.
Going for the blue buffalo, the infamous butt shot.
Right in the ham.
Ham it up.
That was certainly high.
Skipped off a rock, huh?
What I'm afraid of. Because your bullet is 50 grains lighter than the one I have built for. So you were just over the top of the hip.
All right.
You have better measurement capability than me, but my guess is that you need to come down another 1/2 mil to 2 mils.
2, yep.
Or 1.9.
I'm going 2, and I'm shading just lower than center.
2.
Still in the circle, but a little bit low.
All right, spot her up. That's the hit. Looks like a nice impact.
My first blue buffalo. Wow. That is fun to sit there and wait for that clink.
Yeah.
Cool. So 2 mils at that range, what am I looking at inches in drop?
So 150 is about 9 inches, I believe.
9 inches, that's not bad.
The internet will correct me.
So now I'm going to shoot him in the head and try to roll it back to his butt. Spotter ready?
Spotter up.
Wow, this could be fun. Probably ought to put a magazine in if I'm going to get serious about doing a few. Let's load a few up in this mag here. I can get 3 or 4 shots down there. I could see where this would really be effective in any kind of running game in the woods and stuff. That was the low one when that one broke. Easy peasy to get into the woods with it and take down a whitetail or maybe get to Texas for some pigs or something. Call me when you're ready to go.
I'm ready tomorrow.
Okay, we're leaving tomorrow, folks. See ya.
No, you're not. You got work to do.
Tomorrow, so
You're going to my place, I'll go to your place. We'll just spread the love around. Hey, this has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate it, Nick.
Well, I appreciate having you.
Oh, no, I'm going to be playing around with this and figuring it out, and who knows, I might be a Q convert someday.
Yeah.
You don't make them in blue walnut, do you?
We can probably get it done.
Spoken like a true engineer. Well, folks, that has been my introduction to the 8.6 Blackout and the Q fix rifle. All new stuff for me. I would like a little bit of prop from you guys out there for daring to stretch out of my comfort zone here. For some of you, this may be old hat. I don't know. These things are pretty darn popular. I understand that when they were first coming out, they were back ordered for quite a while. And I could see that this would become quite a popular little hunting tool. I do think you need to think out of the box from your traditional rifles. It's another way of launching something. Think of spears, bows, arrows, muzzleloaders, slingshots, all the various ways that we have hunted over the years. This is just the latest. And whether or not it's become the greatest, I don't know. We're going to find out. You guys will probably be able to tell me in about 30 years if I'm still around to hear you. So we're going to do more work with the Q. We'll probably try to do a hunt or so with it. So down the road, keep watching Ron Spomer Outdoors, and we'll see if we can't do a subsonic hunt with this cute little rifle from Q, the fix. We'll see you next time. Hunt honest and shoot straight.